Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey here on Daybreak. A position on the Shelton City Commission is up for election this year, and it's the Shelton City Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvement. There are 4 candidates that are running for election or re-election. Ballots are being mailed out July 11th, and the primary is August 1st. And the top 2 vote getters will move on to the general election. I've sent invitations to the candidates to spend some time with me here on Daybreak, and I'm happy to have with me this morning one of the candidates, the current Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvement, Tracy Moore. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on the air with me here to talk a little bit about the election. First off, for folks who may not know you, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I have been the city commissioner, as you said, for the last 3.5 years. Prior to that, I have been extremely involved in the community. I've been a longtime volunteer and advocate for neighborhoods.
What brought you to first run 3.5 years ago?
3.5 years ago, it seemed like the right time. We had some challenges looking forward, and I felt like we were really having some opportunities to move in the right direction, move forward, and incorporate the potentials that we had building on our past. So it felt like a really exciting time to run for office.
You are the current Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvement, so I'm going to ask you to kind of give yourself a letter grade here. Let's talk about the streets in Shelton. Letter grade on the streets in Shelton and specific areas that you see in the city that need perhaps more attention than others. And then how do you go about prioritizing that kind of work?
Oh, good question. I would say that our grade has progressively gotten better. The big, huge thing that we have accomplished in the last couple of years is the citizen-approved Transportation Benefit District, which is a sales tax increase that goes specifically to fund road improvements. So as that fund builds, we are looking at prioritizing streets and areas. It makes far more sense to do large projects. So using those funds as a grant match to do larger areas in town is something that we will be moving forward on. We're looking now at a project to pave Turner Avenue from First Street all the way up to 16th Street. So that'll be a huge project. We're looking at Alder Street from 1st to 8th, and then also related to that, the pathway going up the hill, doing some work on that. So those are huge projects that will make a difference. And I know that Alder has been one of the ones that we've received some of the more have been more criticized for because it has been torn out for several years. But so that will happen. And then in conjunction with with Cascade Natural Gas replacing all of the gas lines and our Basin 3 sewer project, those areas will all be repaved too. So, and ultimately Railroad Avenue out to 101. So those are near term goals.
One of the roads that has gotten a lot of attention is Railroad, more in the downtown area. So let's talk about that. Has the work done on Railroad been worth it in your opinion? And as the Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvement for the last couple of years, were you heavily involved in the visioning of that and how it became what we see today?
Absolutely. I would say yes. I really support the changes that we've made. I think it has made an amazing difference, and it has accomplished what we had set out to change, making it safer for pedestrians, slowing down traffic, although I will say that I've heard a number of complaints that people are still driving too fast. I was very involved in the visioning process. I was on the visioning committee, the group of citizens who came and kind of formed the vision. And then I was on the visioning committee with other members of the public and other entities in town. So I worked very closely with that.
On the 1st of July, Mason County Garbage took over garbage services in Shelton. Is privatizing these types of services a good thing for the city? And would you look to this for other services that the city currently does?
Um, First of all, I will say that I was the lone no vote for the privatization. I don't feel that it was the right decision. I think that we have given up some of the ability that we had to raise rates um, in a way that benefits our citizens more. I was more in favor of continuing to look at revenue streams that we might possibly have captured through expanding our garbage service. So, and generally, I would just say I am not in favor of privatizing any of our other city services. I don't believe that the record has shown that privatization in general is good for our citizens.
You are the Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvement, so let's move to the public improvement aspect of that. What public improvements do you think would benefit the city, and how would you get the other two commissioners to get on board with that?
Oh, that's a tough question. Um, um, Other public improvements, I'm fully in favor of urban trails and parks. Those type of improvements I think are very important to bring our city into a more positive identity. I believe that too often we frame ourselves as not being a good place to live, and those are things that not only give us more community pride, but also i- improve our image around that will entice people to come here. Definitely, I have been in favor of using the Simpson Rail and the Roundhouse for a tourism as well as freight mobility. I think those are very important uh, avenues that we can have economic development. And I haven't yet been real successful in getting a second vote on those things. We have agreed to take the rail line. And I am currently working with groups that are poised to take over running the rail service if we are able to capture that. So ultimately, what we will need for that is we will need a staging area. We had hoped to have a staging area in the Roundhouse. It doesn't look like that's going to work. Being so close in proximity to the mill operations. So, somewhere along the line, we will have to build a depot type building and a museum that will complement the rail service. So, I haven't given up on that. Also, what we have a number of issues with ADA compliance and mobility for people that are not able to walk, not able to climb stairs, not able to go up and down the sidewalk. So those are things that will be remedied as we move forward with the street improvements.
Let's talk about some ways that you think the city can quickly spur some economic growth, be that through the reduction of fees, the suspension of fees, the increase of fees. What are some ways you think the city can quickly spur some economic growth?
Well, definitely, I don't think that the fee reductions that we tried for a trial 1 year period have made the difference that the people who voted for it hoped for. I would much rather pursue a revolving loan fund or something similar to what they're doing in Port Townsend to spur redevelopment in their older buildings. So rather than boarded up buildings, they have a lively business community in those buildings. It creates a more welcoming area. It makes people feel good. It also entices other people to come in. So I would be in favor of those types of incentives that are targeted more to what we want. I'm not in favor of reducing all of the fees, and I think it puts the city in a difficult spot as far as our general fund. Believe that the better thing for all of our citizens would be a healthy general fund that could maybe fund another policeman, that could be used for things that benefit the entire community rather than a few. So, incentives and creativity, I believe, are what we need.
And finally, Tracy, tell the voters listening out there today why quickly they should keep you in this position as Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvement over your other candidate, over the other folks who are running.
Okay, I am very committed to the citizens of this community. I'm committed to our small businesses as well and to our larger businesses, but I do believe that all of my votes have reflected the fact that citizens are first in my decision making process. I have the experience, definitely. I have proven that I'm comfortable. I would prefer not to be the minority vote, but I am comfortable speaking out, and I believe I represent the people better than maybe some of the other candidates, for sure.
Tracy Moore is running for re-election as Commissioner of Streets and Public Improvement for the city of Shelton. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you so much.